welcome to my David Wilson Out and About YouTube channel. This morning, as promised, I'm out on the water in my new Story Ranger 1. This kayak is a hybrid kayak, meaning that the floor is drop stitch and the sides are conventional chambers, be it that they're an awful lot lower than the actual traditional fat-sided chambers. I am on the River Medway and I've just put in or launched at Allington Lock. It's been a bit of a faff. I originally planned to go to my old stomping ground where I normally test out new kayaks, which is at Tunbridge. So I normally put in at the slipway there and do a circuit round the sports and recreation grounds there. It's just sort of a very, very safe area to take your kayak the first time out, but unfortunately there was no water as such. At present on the Medway there's a couple of the locks closed for maintenance, so literally at that end there was about 6 inches of water. It was more like a puddle and it was just thick mud. So I then jumped in my vehicle and I shot off towards Teeston, which is another favourite place of mine, and then suddenly realised I didn't have my kayak trolley with me, and the actual launch point, the putting point, is literally about 300 metres across fields. So I then got back in the car, plan C, and I headed over to Maidstone, to Allington Lock, and that's where I've just launched from. It's actually a really good launch point, and it's probably one of the easiest places to get in a new kayak. If you're unfamiliar with a kayak, you know, to actually get in and sort of test the water, if you excuse the pun. This is the first time in many years since I've paddled a one-person kayak. Actually, the first time I've ever paddled an inflatable one-person kayak, but it seems to be handling quite well. Bit of a faff setting the seat up. I'm going to work on that when I get back, so that next time I can just sort of slot it in and I know it's in the correct position at the correct angle. But other than that, it's going along quite merrily. It's trekking very well indeed. I briefly tried the paddle on supply kayak, and as I thought, it's naff. I mean, I suppose it comes with the kayak, so it's a starter paddle, but it was rattling where it's 4 pieces. It was rattling at the joints, and the actual blades were flexing too much, so I swapped it out for my usual paddle, which is my ear to it. Hello? You're coming straight at me. Morning. See, you got a little visitor with you. Really? Following you about? Yeah. Well, there you go, a bit of excitement. That's the problem with those type of crafts. They're all facing the wrong way, they're all talking, and as you can see, they came straight at me. Well, to be honest, I never expected it to be so busy on the river this morning, but there you go. Getting a bit quieter now. Peace and quiet at last. Just the sound of the birds singing. It's it's actually getting quite warm. When I set out this morning it was about 1 degree and I had to defrost the windscreen on the vehicle, but I should imagine now it's probably about 10 or 12 degrees and the sun is absolutely beating down. I actually thinking I should have brought some suntan cream with me, but hey ho, it does seem a bit early in the year for that, but when you're on the water it's very easy to burn. Still got my legs covered up. I've got some quick dry trousers and some neoprene shorts on underneath, so the legs won't get burnt. My arms are quite resilient. It's just my head that suffers. Being freckled and a Scotsman. I've actually not been out on this stretch of water since, I believe, June 2020, or it was literally within a couple of weeks of coming out of the first national lockdown. Actually, that was the first time I launched from Allington Lock and I went all the way down to East Farley Lock and back, which I think in total I did something like 12 miles. So I'm actually now quite glad I'm on it. It sort of wasn't my original plan, but I've sort of been forced to come down this end, but I'm pleased I did. I'm about half a mile, or 3/4 of a mile into my paddle, and kayak's doing really well. It really does track straight. I'm actually very surprised. I expected a bit more yaw, sort of, the left to right movement than I'm getting. Although sometimes you do wonder whether it's actually people's paddle strokes that they're actually going, a little bit too mad. Going along a steady pace, it feels very stable indeed. I think I said earlier that I was having a bit of difficulty getting in. It was my seat position, and I got 100 metres down the river and I had to sort of wedge myself in the back of the boat and try and adjust my seat on the water, and I was literally climbing about. I was on my knees, turning around and trying to adjust the seat on the water, which is never a good thing to do. I got away with it, which I guarantee I would not have from my blue wave glider drop stitch kayak. It's too narrow. I could not more or less kneel up, turn around, adjust the seat and then turn back down and plonk myself back in it. I'll definitely be in the drink. So it's definitely got that stability. And when I was getting in, there was a lot of wobble. I started wobbling, the kayak was wobbling, but it would be very difficult to tip this, to completely capsize this. There's a fair few people out on the river. I can only assume they're getting in at the Maidstone club and paddling down this way. I think once you get past Maidstone it'll be a lot quieter, but I'm not planning on going that much further today. As I said, this is predominantly a test run for this kayak. I'll make decisions where I take it out next. Well, as you can see, the river's like a mill pond this morning, thankfully. This stretch of the river is considerably wider and busier than further upstream. Once you get through the main town of Maidstone, then it really does start going into the countryside and it becomes more sort of canal orientated. Very peaceful. It's not the fastest kayak in the world, but in saying that, I am after filming, so I'm not after speed. I want things to run along nice and smoothly. If I want the speed, I'll get in my touring kayak, I'll get in my blue wave glider, because that's pretty fast. It really cuts through the water. What I'm going to do now, I'm just going to test this. I'm not going along too fast, I'm just ambling along, but what I'm going to do, I'm just going to down paddle and see how far it glides on, because obviously the traditional type kayaks without the drop stitch base tend to grind to a halt very quickly, and if it's windy you end up going backwards. So let's see what happens when I stop paddling. I'm going to down paddle, a couple more strokes, and then that's it. Now I'm gliding on. It's doing okay. It's just coming to a stop now, so it probably went glided on for around about 4 meters. It's still actually going, but it's more or less stopped now, so not too bad at all. Obviously when you start up paddling from a stop, you get a bit of the yaw you're going to. So it's not very long kayak, but once you get going and you settle into your pace, then she does glide, or sorry, not glide, she tracks in a straight line. In all fairness, had it been going too much from left to right, I probably would have actually fitted a small front skeg on, or not right at the front, but sort of a skeg further forward on the kayak, just to try and alleviate that, but I honestly don't think that's necessary. Well, what I've done now, I've angled the camera down so that you can see the bow, and from a standing start I'm just taking off so you can see how much it yaws or travels from right to left, and then once I get going a bit I'll just start doing even strokes. So we're moving along a bit faster now, and now I'm just going to start going into even strokes. And there you go. And in all fairness, I probably won't be travelling much faster than this in this kayak. As you can see, very little left to right movement, and she's going straight as a die. I thought I would show you that. The main reason is this camera I've got has got very good image stabilization, or electronic image stabilization, so a lot of the time it sort of irons out all those wrinkles anyway, so you'll go, cool, that kayak's nice and smooth. But if you turned off the image stabilization, you may see all sorts. Well, as you see a little bit earlier, when I nearly got rammed by that crude craft down near Allington Lock, this kayak does manoeuvre very well. I mean, considering I'd only literally got in it 5 minutes before, I had to really turn fast to actually avoid being speared by that craft. And I managed to get round the craft and round the paddles. So yeah, I mean, considering I've never paddled it before, I was very impressed with that. Such a beautiful day. What I will do when I get back to the Allington Lock, or on the way back, what I'll probably do is just do some filming here and there with no audio, just add some atmospheric music to it. And when I get back to Allington Lock, I'll record it going into the slipway. And then if I've still got time, depending on what time I get back, I'll take you for a little walk around the lock. There's a lovely pub called the Water Inn dead opposite the lock, which you can either get out of the car park at the lock and go across the lock gates and have a pint and a meal, or they have actually got their own platform over the other side, so you can exit there. And no point, not if you're parked in the actual lock car park. as I said earlier, this is my second visit to Allington Lock. A little bit about it. I mean, I must admit, considering it's a couple of years since I've been there, the parking fees haven't gone up. It's the Environment Agency, EA. They have their head office there, and you have to go and see the lockkeeper. And what he'll do, he takes your parking money and he gives you a code, because they've got toilets and showers there, and so then literally come off the river and have a shower if you like. It's a pretty nice place to park up. The only thing I will say about Allington Lock, in the summer it can get busy, and obviously at weekends. I mean, this is actually a Thursday, so it's a midweek, and there was only 2 parking spaces left when I got to the car park, so you have to get there early, obviously not too early. I can't remember what time the lockkeeper's available from. I think it may be 7 AM, but you'd have to look that up on the website. But I said it's a great place to put it in. You've got a canoe platform there, and you've got a slipway, so you've got the option, either or either. It's going to be a bit noisy around here. There's lots of building going on. We're sort of more or less skirting Maidstone, the outskirts of Maidstone at the moment, so as I said, it's not the prettiest part of the river, but it's still nice all the same. Well, I've down my paddle for a moment, and I've reached into the back and got my nice freezing cold bottle of water out. It's getting very, very hot out on this river. Excuse me while I take a swig. Oh, it's nice. Back on to save the old head. Let's get going again. That's the only thing. It takes just a little bit to get started, but in all fairness, I'm used to my narrow, sharp, long drop stitch kayak, so I mean, I'm no expert, but I do own an Inflatable 3, which is a traditional large chambered kayak. Obviously I have the 15.5 foot long drop stitch kayak, full drop stitch kayak, and I have this, so I do know, you know, I have got kayaks either side of this one. This one's sort of sitting right back in the middle there, but you know what, it's going to be perfect for what I want. And obviously if I'm going on much longer trips, I'll be getting my drop stitch touring kayak out. Now about the skeg, I am actually out using the supplied skeg, which I believe from memory is 20 centimetres long, which is 8 inches. I have brought my 3.5 inch one along with me. I'm not really going to get the opportunity to use it, but this one absolutely seems fine. It's not too long, not too wide, and it seems to be doing the trick. On a future video, I'll stick the 3.5 on and see what difference it makes. Obviously, ideally, if it tracks as well as it is now, 3.5, that will be my go-to skeg, because basically a lot of the areas of the Medway and another river I go on, the Store, where it's got an awful lot of reeds. The smaller the skeg, the better. You don't want to be dragging it along the bottom on the gravel. You don't want it stuck in the mud, stopping your kayak, and you will be in real trouble. Something like an 8 or 9 inch skeg buries itself in thick, sludgy mud. So yeah, I'm more than happy with this one so far. There is a towpath that runs from Allington. I don't know how much further beyond that it runs, but it's running down on the left hand side now. It goes all the way through Maidstone. Could actually make an interesting walk at some point, maybe with a cheeky overnight wild camp. I love the sound of bird song. We'll lose that in a minute because we'll be approaching the town. There'll be all sorts of noise. I'm going to stop off in the town. I'm not bothering to get out the kayak. I'm just going to stop. I've got some nice ground coffee with me and sandwiches, and I haven't forgotten my hand sanitizer. That's a very important thing to carry. It's got nothing to do with the COVID. I was carrying that well before the COVID struck, because your hands can be contaminated. Water's not the cleanest, so you don't want to get Lyme's disease. So when you pull up, you're going to have a bite to eat or you're going to have a drink, always give your hands a clean up, and then you should be quite safe. I'm sure you can hear it, the rumble and the roar of traffic down in front of me. You can probably even see it. It's still a bit of a distance away, but we're now approaching Maidstone town centre, where I'll be stopping for a coffee. May have one of my sandwiches. I'll check the time, and then what I'll probably do, I might go on a little bit further. I'll have a little think about that while I'm having a cup of coffee. Let's see what it's turning circles like without digging into the water on the left hand side. Yeah, lovely. I put a bit of effort in there as well to see how much it would tip, and it just stays flat on the water. I think you can see up ahead there's a space where I can just moor up for a bit, have a cup of coffee, have a bite to eat, and then slowly head back. I'm taking it nice and gently into the bank so that I don't scrape the kayak up. Take a couple of trips out to get completely 100% used to it. Got a bit of wind behind me now, so I'm actually being blown along. So let's just slow myself down, left and right paddle, that's your brake. So just hit the water with left and right paddle repeatedly and it slows you down. It might wobble the kayak, but it really does slow you down. Just enough to scrape the paddle along the side. That's it. Ranger 1 has landed. Got my paddle leash in my paddle. I'll just put that out the boat. That'll hold us into the bank. What I tend to do when I reach the bank, I mean obviously I'm on a concrete, there's a big concrete step here, is I tend to throw my paddle out because I've got the kayak leash attached, and that will draw me inside on, and then the bag that I have between my legs, which has got a fair bit of weight in it because it's got camera equipment in it, I then sort of push all the leash into the side and weigh it down with the bag, and that just keeps you still enough to have a cup of coffee and get on with what you want to do. Other than that, you'll find that your back end or your front end starts wandering and you're struggling to pour your coffee. Well, I've got my collapsible cup with me today, some nice ground coffee and egg and tomato sandwiches, so I'm going to have this and then we'll head back downstream. This is normally the point when I get attacked by swans and ducks. Right, lunch over with. Let's hit the road to the river, back downstream to Allington Lock. Whatever was the young at the moment.
Well, you like that, mate?
Well, there you go, back at Allington Lock. So how did the kayak perform? Well, all told, it was very good indeed. I said I had a little bit of an issue on the way back with a wake from one boat that was definitely going faster than 5 knots. But some of the waves came over the top of the splash deck. However, saying that, on the way back, because I got out in Maidstone, I moved my seat position forward and I wasn't comfortable, I was too far forward. So that may be that literally the kayak was top heavy. So again, I'll check all that out again in the future videos. Obviously, this is just a quick one on the water. I've only done about 3 miles out and back. You know what, it's really hot today, and that was enough. With the wind, it does take a bit of work. I mean, I'm spoilt with my Blue Wave glider, but there you go. But anyway, that's it for now. So I'm going to wrap this video up and get packed away and then take a little walk around the lock, get some photographs. So hope you enjoy this video, and if you do, don't forget to give it the thumbs up and subscribe if you haven't already subscribed. Bye now.